Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 243 of the Audible Farm podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Go to www.fdfineartsassociation.org to find out more. The Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association believes the arts should be accessible to everyone, and so do we. So if you want to support them, go ahead and go to their website. I believe you can make donations right on their website as well. They got a community calendar on their website too. Lots of events in the Fort Dodge area. They support everything. It's amazing. Also, don't forget to check out their podcast, FDT. It comes out every single month. It's great. They're on their sixth episode. They just did 6. They got 7 coming up. It's amazing. The last episode was amazing. One of the biggest episodes I've ever done, and you got to check it out. It's super cool. This episode, I'm sitting down with the man, the myth, the legend, Rollie Jensen. That's right. Rollie Jensen has played more music than most of us have thought about, dreamt about, and probably ever wanted to. The guy plays so much. He plays all different kinds of music. This episode is amazing because I kind of know Rollie a little bit, but sitting down talking with him, it's like, oh, I don't really actually know Rollie that well, and Rollie's been playing music for longer than I've been alive, and he's played more music than I have. Every year that I've thought of, like, oh, I played a lot of shows this year. And it's like, well, Rollie's like retired and working, and also like he's got a full-time job, and he plays almost more gigs than I do. Like right now, it's like, Lordy, this guy plays a lot of music. There's a good reason for that. Rollie's story is amazing. He has a fun musical background. He used to be a music teacher. And believe it or not, he was talking about something on the podcast, and it like made something click in my head. I was like, oh, that's why these two kinds of music are similar, because it's the same thing, just plus an extra note. It's so wild. He's so good at teaching. He didn't even know he was doing it, and he did it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We talk about Rollie, how he grew up, how he got interested in music, his first gigs, different gigs he played, going to music school, funny music stories. I mean, it's endless. It does end eventually, but I got to have him back on. That's all I got to say. I feel like we got a good chunk of the story out of the way, and then I kind of derailed the conversation, and before you knew it, it was time to end. So I got to have Rollie back on another time. This was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. It's episode 243 with Rollie Jensen.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
I'm sitting down with Rollie Jensen today. Rollie, you are a former school teacher. You taught music?
Yeah, I taught beginner band up through 8th graders at Pocahontas.
Awesome.
So I come there in the fall of 83.
Small wonder you're good at playing music if you were teaching it for, 20-ish years?
You bet. Yeah, and the first 9 years were in Pocahontas, and then the schools kept reorganizing. We were organizing with Havelock Plover.
Okay.
And then Rolfe. And then when we joined Rolfe, they put the middle school up in Rolfe. So I went up to Rolfe and taught. So
okay.
So I had my own band room and got to buy all my own equipment and all that fun stuff.
Oh, jeez. That's the teacher's plight. You got to buy all your own stuff. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I had like a $10,000 budget, and I just could buy anything I wanted to. So
yeah, it's
kind of fun.
That's cool. That's awesome. You know what? I was thinking, it's kind of weird how, like, because you actually, like, worked through this. Some of us, like, quote-unquote, lived through it. But, like, schools all used to be in, like, oh, they're all in this big town. Or they were, like, really, really weirdly sparsed out, like, like Livermore and Bode. And, they had all these little schools there. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, we're just going to send all the people that are high school from any of these 3 schools over to this town. And there's still towns that are like that. Like Burnside, it's got, like, 9 houses in it. There's, like, a middle school down there?
Oh, yeah, they still have a school that keeps them... That's what keeps the community going, is the schools. Mm-hmm. And once the school closes, then all you have left is the post office and the bar.
It's true.
And then when the bar closes, all you got left is the post office. So.
Yep. So you'd still have a job.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, those small towns, that sounds like where you'd thrive. Bar, post office. As long as the bar's got live music.
And a few times we got snowed in up in Rolfe there, and we had to go to the bar.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And this what's not nice about a small town is that everybody is related. I didn't know that half of my band, I had a junior high band of about 75 kids, and I think half of them were cousins. Oh. They were all related.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it was just crazy.
That's a lot of kids to go out for. And I'm not trying to say like the Pocahontas area community school district or whatever. It's not really like huge, but it's not it's not small, but it's not big. So like 75 kids sounds like a lot to go out for.
Yeah, we had over 350 kids in grades 5 through 12 out for band. So I would say 75% of the kids were in band and choir. It was the thing to do, and we had a lot of fun, and we played a lot of fun music and kept the kids busy. That's what seemed to work back then. We went to parades. We went to Carol Band Day, Algona Band Day.
Oh, yeah. Algona Band Days.
Our middle school band also performed a halftime show all by ourselves. I mean, we didn't combine with a high school band. We did the show by ourselves.
Cool.
And we marched the homecoming parades, and then we also went around to the area homecoming parades. So we went to the Manson Parade, the Pomeroy Parade, and then because they would reciprocate for us, and then Manson would come to Pocahontas homecoming parade, and Pomeroy would come to ours. So,
that's cool.
So that's what you learn to do, give and take, but we just kept those kids really busy.
I think that's got to be a testament. I mean, I never had you as a teacher. That's a disclaimer. I went to a competing school, but like that's got to be a testament to you and maybe some of the other teachers there. I don't know, because you said you did middle school, grade school through middle school.
Yep.
And so there must have been a high school band instructor as well.
Yeah, Cam McCurdy. He was my mentor basically, and it was really neat because I'm a South Dakota boy. I grew up in South Dakota.
Okay.
We'll get to that later, but
Yeah.
but so we had a lot in common. We knew a lot of people in South Dakota, and here I end up in Pocahontas, Iowa, with this high school band director that's from South Dakota, Cam McCurdy. So we had a lot in common, and he was one heck of a band director, just a nice guy. And yeah,
it's got to be like I was saying, like you guys. It has to be a testament to how good of teachers you were, how fun you were to be around, or how enjoyable you actually made music. I remember. I mean, I enjoyed music, but some of the best teachers that I ever interacted with were music teachers because it was obvious they loved it. I mean, it's kind of tough to love algebra every day. I would, but when you're teaching kids new songs, and you can pick the songs in essence. So like, yeah, I mean, you just obviously must have made it fun for them, for that many kids to just keep going out for band.
Yeah, we had a lot of kids, so we had a lot of personalities to deal with. And they tended to test me quite often, but we got through it. But the secret with us is that we just loaded up their band folders with a dozen songs every couple months, and just a dozen songs of various levels and styles, pop music, classical music, band music, and marching band music. Just loaded up the kids with a lot of music, and so we had something for everybody, and we always ended every rehearsal with a fun song.
Oh, cool.
So the kids would leave the band room like whistling or humming that last song.
Yeah.
And they couldn't wait to come back the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
I guess.
That's so funny. It's like you ate the meal. Here's your dessert. All right.
Yep.
And they're happy because they got dessert, on the way out. That's awesome.
And that's another thing we talk about. Our concerts are always 1 hour long. That a lot of schools, they do these concerts and they go on for like hour and a half, 2-3 hour concerts.
Oh yeah.
Parents don't like that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to get up and leave, and
yeah,
there's a lot.
And we tried to have our concerts 1 hour long, and everybody, the community liked that, the administration liked it, the other teachers that came and great support from the other teachers, because I took kids out of their classes for lessons and things like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of give and take with my administration and the other teachers I taught with. So
that's cool. So you mentioned you were from South Dakota originally. So those jackrabbits up there, is that what it is?
Yep. I grew up in a little town called White, South Dakota. And there was 2 towns, White and Toronto. And we made a school called Dubrook. And that was in Dual County and Brookings County. Okay. And they called it Dubrook. It's spelled D-E-U-B-R-O-O-K. Dubrook.
All right.
And, that's where I started school.
So what age did you start playing music then? So like, did you like grow up and you were just like, I have to play music, or did you like have a harmonica around, or was it like piano lessons? Was there something that like tripped the trigger, or what was it?
Well, my family, of course, is very musically oriented. My mom was a church organist.
Cool.
In our little church, a Pioneer Lutheran Church down the road 2 miles. And my dad was an accordion player.
Oh, sweet.
My dad had a polka band. He had a band in the 30s, and then he went to World War II, and then he come back after that, and he started up another band, and so he always had a band.
That's cool.
So back in the 60s, when I was just a little kid, Sunday afternoons, we'd always be listening to KNUJ radio out of New Ulm on the AM radio, and that was polka music. And but a lot of times we go for rides on Sunday afternoons, and we'd end up at some musician's house. And pretty soon, about 5 or 6 other musicians would show up, and they'd have a little jam session on Sunday afternoon. So that was a good time. And here I was, 7, 8, 9 years old, and these guys are just playing all this music, and it just dazzled me. And I started playing tambourine and things like that.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, this kid's got some rhythm, So it wasn't long. I was setting in on the drum sets during the jam sessions.
You said rhythm. That makes me think. You're a teacher. You know that like rhythm is not something everyone has inherently in their body, and some people it's near impossible to teach rhythm to them.
Well, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big coordination thing. So.
I mean, even just clapping on 2 and 4, like people don't like. It's just kind of weird how people don't get it. I don't know. It always blew me away because I guess it just sort of makes sense. I don't know. Just kind of crazy.
Yeah, the people still clap on 1 and 3 kind of drive me crazy, but 2 and 4, that's where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you're doing it right now. I just want to snap along. But some people, I guess, they just don't feel it. I don't know.
But yeah, teaching a lot of kids through the years that didn't have a lot of sense of rhythm. You just sit there and tap on their shoulder and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Then they have like the feel. They have a feel of it. They used to have those like on their. I remember when I was growing up, they had the thing on you could put on your wrist, and you'd set the BPM, and it would vibrate every beat or whatever every 4. All right, so let's go back to. You're lucky that you enjoyed this stuff because a lot of people go when they're a kid, they're just like, oh, I got dragged over to here with my dad and I hated it, But you loved music, it sounds like, and it sounds like you had it, from growing up, it was just all around. So it's kind of cool that you enjoyed it and you ended up taking to it, and ended up playing some drums. It sounds like. So what kind of like a young age were you kind of just goofing off on the drums with these guys?
Oh, yeah. My dad would take me to some dance jobs, and I was probably maybe 12 years old.
Whoa.
And I'd go with my mom. My mom would drive a separate car because the dances a lot of times were from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Back then, dances were late, 9 to 1, 10 to 2. So my mom would take me along to a dance. And my mom's still alive. She's 101 years old up in Brookings, South Dakota, Dallas. Cool. But so, yeah, they'd take me along, and they let me play a couple songs during the first set. And then it was getting to be 10 o'clock, and Mom would take me home.
Yeah. Good mom.
And then it wasn't long. I was about 14 years old, and then I become pretty much the full-time drummer with my dad, polka band.
I was going to say, it's still polka music.
Yep, because his regular drummer had joined a country band where he could sing and do other things. And so my dad was kind of looking for a drummer, and I was there.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing about playing gigs was just trying to stay awake.
Oh, really? I mean, I guess if you're going till 2+ in the morning.
I mean, they were marathons, and they were 4-hour gigs, and sometimes you didn't take a break all night long. I mean, it got to be.
Yeah. I mean, I caught the tail end of the 4-hour gigs. I'm like, they're less and less now. They're just aren't as frequent. But I caught the tail end of playing 4-hour gigs. Like, man, this is a long time to be playing music.
Yeah, it becomes a marathon, but it was great.
So you started playing the drums first. It sounds like. Is there something that just because you had rhythm or there were drums available, it was the easiest thing to learn? You thought, or you just took to it?
Yeah, I just took to it. They were shiny. So then I was in 8th grade, about 14 years old there, and bought a used drum set for like $150.
Nice.
It was a gold Majestic, and just a little drum set. I wish I still had that thing. But
if anyone's got one, they have for sale. Hit up Rollie.
Yeah, Majestic. I still look online, see if my drum set still shows up, but it never does.
Oh, man.
But I knew where my drum set went. It went to a church eventually. And then I talk to the people at the church, and they go, "Yeah, they sent it home with some kid, and who knows, it disappeared through the years."
Oh, bummer.
But
That's a bummer. So you play in school then? Like what time did you start playing in school if you did?
yeah, I started school band in 5th grade, like everybody does, and played some snare drum and learned all the rudiments.
Yes. We got every one of those on mic.
Yep.
No, I always thought that was something where it's like when I was growing up, it's just like rudiments. Like learn some notes, why don't you? And now like that I'm older, it's like I wish I would have learned some of those like things so they were better embedded in my head, because like those are the rhythms that the notes need to have in order to actually make more sense or to feel a different way. And I don't know, I always felt like drummers had a special something that not every musician had.
Yeah, I'm a rudimental drummer, so I do the paradiddles and the rolls and all the ratomacues and all that stuff, and it just adds to my drumming through the years. It just adds more to my bag, I guess. Your bag of tricks.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody has a bag of tricks, and my bag is, I've got about 4 or 5 bags of tricks now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm still rocking one bag of tricks, and I try and just pick a couple off the top because it's easy and call it good. But those long shows, it's funny. It's like, who's been here the whole show? Because they're probably getting tired of hearing me play this one lick in a solo.
Yeah.
Every 2 or 3 songs, it just comes out naturally. It's like, well, that's whatever. But
yeah, we all kind of get in our own little routines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, about beginning drummers, and then we had a homecoming parade, and the Beatles. The Beatles was the theme for the homecoming parade for some reason. So my mom had us cut out a cardboard drum set, and we colored in the drums. And so here I am marching down with my 6th graders as a 6th grade student, marching down Main Street of White, South Dakota with a Ringo drum set on cardboard.
That's hilarious.
And I tell you, it was crazy.
I don't know. I pine sometimes for the days before the internet because just random creativity was just normal. And nowadays it just doesn't seem as normal. Like, I don't know. I remember being a kid and it's just like, yeah, I made a cardboard pro wrestling title belt or something, but nowadays it's like, I would never do that. Like, besides, they have plastic ones you can buy at the store now. And I just feel like that kind of ruined everything, was just the availability of everything. But I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked. So you're playing drums. We're talking like 6th grade through high school. You're starting to play some shows with your dad. Did you ever start playing any other instruments? Because I'm just going to assume that since you are a music teacher, a former music teacher, that you can play more than one instrument. Yeah, his eyebrows went up. Okay. So like, because I want to know where the transition to that goes, or are there still fun stories we're missing out on in high school? Because we haven't even really touched much on high school. Was there some fun shows you ended up playing through high school? Because not many of us got that opportunity to play at that young of an age. I mean, not many of us were good enough to play that at that young of an age. So.
Yep. Well, I took piano lessons from my mom.
Okay.
And then I was kind of a attention deficit kid, I guess you call me, like most drummers are.
Yeah.
Or most musicians.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we always got to be thinking a little bit ahead.
And she sends me down the road to Elmira Johnson, and she was the local piano teacher. And I switched over from piano to organ. I played we had a Hammond organ at home.
Cool.
And Elmira, she would get up on the organ bench and play the song, and then I was supposed to imitate her,
Wow.
But it was all boom chick, polka type music that she was teaching me, kind of honky tonk.
Okay.
And so I took lessons from her for probably 5 years there through 7th grade through, junior and high school or so. So I learned all the fundamentals about the notes and everything, playing piano and organ.
Did you enjoy playing the piano?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And the organ especially. I really I bounced up and down on the bench, and I played those polkas and waltzes and the honky tonk type music.
Oh yeah. I guess I didn't really think about like the waltz is basically polka plus one note. Boom, ba 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 ba. It's like 1 2 3 1 2
1 2 3.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. I don't know. That just clicked in my head. All right. You are a good teacher. Teaching you don't even know it. So you're playing some piano, some organ, which is cool that you have a Hammond organ. Like nowadays, people are just like, what? Like,
yeah, and that's another thing I wish I still had.
Yeah.
My parents' Hammond organ, because that would be fun to wail on. And it had all the buttons and the slides. You could really make that thing howl.
Whoa.
We didn't have the big Leslie speaker that goes around, but it was
Wow, that would have been super cool. Because like I said, now nowadays people are just like they want those things.
Yeah.
They just don't make those kind of things.
and it had a volume pedal on it, and when nobody else was home, that's when I would really crank. I would crank it up, and I would just floor that thing wide open and play that thing.
That's awesome.
So,
I mean, the other thing is like
and I'd pull all the slides and make it wow, 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 wow like crazy.
that's so fun. It's so fun too because you're probably playing like more fun music. Because I think organ, and this is going to sound bad, but like I hear the organ most often at church, and when I'm most often at church, usually it's a somber affair. So you end up with like sadder,
Oh yeah,
like I don't say like dirge music, funeral type stuff, and it's just like, oh, this is a, but like just to think of somebody just like cranking it up and playing polka in their house, just like, oh yeah, just crushing it. That's fun.
yeah. I wish I had some recordings of some of that stuff I used to play, because I wish I had my old music books, that had all them songs in them, because they were easy to play and so much fun. And yep, those books are gone. Just like everything else, we can't save everything.
You can't take everything, Is there like a piece of equipment? Well, we're going to pause this, but is there a piece of equipment that you like miss the most of like throughout your history? Is like your first drum set, or is it that Hammond organ, or is there something else that you're just like, this is the thing that I wish I would have never let go?
Everything.
I have a hoarder effect. I don't sell much when I buy things, and usually if I do, it's just like, I'm really not using this, and I just won't. And somebody shot me a decent price, whatever, take it. Or it's somebody like, I sold a lot of my stuff to like students I had, where it's just like, you want a guitar? I've got an electric guitar, $100. It's just just get rid of it, and they'll use it. And if they don't, then they can sell it and make some of their lesson money back or whatever. I don't care, But the only thing I ever really wished I didn't sell was just my first guitar. That's it. I mean, it's just to have it for the nostalgic effect. I think I know where it might be, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about that first drum set I had, that Majestic drum set, because through the years, then my drum sets got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Was that because of like just through time? That's just how it went.
That's how it went. Bigger was better.
You go through the 70s into the 80s. That just started.
Yeah,
they had a castle around them basically.
And I wish I still had that little drum set, because now I'm downward curve. I like smaller is better nowadays. The smaller the drum set, the better.
Oh yeah, because Cole had that. He has like a smaller kit.
That's basically what my little Majestic was
really?
Very similar to that.
Nice. That's fun. Yeah, I remember you were looking at it like, I like this. I like this a lot. And it's fun. It's a nice little set. I don't know. Those smaller drums are always more fun to me, because I guess I grew up listening to like 80s music, so I was always just like, yeah, big drums, big deep drums. Like I said, like just a castle around the drummer. I like that, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was fun going through the drums. I used to have then I bought a Slingerland drum set when I was 16, and traded off the Majestic and the Slingerland, and then I had 4 tom-toms up on top there. Mm-hmm. And boy, then I could roll through the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
just roll,
just extend your fills longer.
And God, I played this famous drum solo during the Edgar Winters. What was it called?
Frankenstein?
Yeah. Where the whole band would leave the stage. Here I am, 16 years old, with a high school rock band. It was called Exit.
Oh, nice.
Because we'd start playing and everybody would leave, I guess. No. No.
That's hilarious.
But, we had a high school rock band. And
that's a band that you started, or you and your buddies
got. A buddy of mine, Terry Thompson of Toronto, South Dakota. And his parents owned a trucking firm, so they had a big shop.
Okay.
We could set up our band in this big shop on Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
And we played a few parties for a couple years through high school, and a couple high school homecoming dances and stuff like that. But mainly machine shed parties, I would say. With this, it was kind of a hard rock band.
So where do we go from like playing polka music and waltzes and stuff on a Hammond organ to saying I want to play some rock music? Like, did you also listen to rock music growing up too, or was there just like no limits? Even though like your dad played polka, he listened to everything else, or what was it?
We listened to everything. My brother-in-law actually owned. He went around and changed the 45 LPs in the jukeboxes.
Okay.
So the old 45s, he would have boxes of them and bring them over to me.
Oh wow.
So I had tons of music to listen to as a kid.
That's awesome.
I had 45s just stacked up to the ceiling.
That guy was your Spotify.
Yeah.
He was your Apple Music.
And
that's crazy.
And they'd clean out these old jukeboxes with the old country songs and rock and roll, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. A lot of country out in South Dakota, of course.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Truck stop type music.
Yes.
Where you'd sit there at the booth and you'd have the little jukebox right there.
Yeah, right there
at the booth.
Yeah, I've actually been to a couple of restaurants like that. It's just so fun that's a thing. I don't know. I wish there's a lot of that stuff. It's like I wish this was still a thing somehow, but it'd be noise now, I feel. We all got phones. I guess you don't need it. Anyways.
So that was neat about that. And then, of course, you could buy 45 records. I didn't buy LPs because they were expensive. They cost like, $3 or $4. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money when you only had 25 cents
Yeah.
a week allowance.
Okay, yeah.
But these 45s, which was given to me, so I'd start drumming with those and things like that. And then when my dad was gone, like mom and dad would go to town and play bingo, then I'd be home alone and I'd hook up my record player to my dad's Fender amplifier.
Oh, cool.
He had a four speaker Fender Super Deluxe amplifier for his accordion.
That's awesome.
And I'd hook my little record player up with a little cord.
Yeah, so that thing
With a Radio Shack adapter.
That thing could wail.
And I cranked that thing up. I'm glad I didn't blow those speakers up, because I really...
That's fun. Oh, gosh.
But I'd be rocking out.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild to think. I mean, like, home stereos were a thing. But, like, to have a guitar amplifier, like, as your home stereo, that's some loud...
Yeah.
That's some loud stuff.
Yeah, it'd shake the walls and the windows.
That's fun. So you listen to everything, it sounds like. Was there, like, did you have a favorite type of music? Was it, like, because of your parents, did you kind of like, polka music? Or was just because country was, like, a big deal up in South Dakota? Was that kind of what you just gravitated towards because everyone listened to it? Or were you kind of just like, oh, I like rock or, Black Sabbath? Did you have, like, something where you're just, like, way off key?
No, I like all kinds of music. The older I got, the more I become exposed to everything. I got the high school band, and then I had a new band director, Jerry Kramer, and he was a percussionist. And I used to play with smaller 2B sized drumsticks, and he says, you're going to be a drummer. You need to get these big 3S marching band drumsticks. So they're like 2x4s.
Yeah.
And boy, that really got my technique going.
Oh, I bet.
And he didn't have me playing on a practice pad. He had me practicing on a pillow. You would practice your rudiments on a pillow. So there's no bounce.
Yeah, you don't get any bounce back.
No bounce. So you had to do it with all your wrist and your fingers.
That's wild.
With these huge 2x4 3S marching band drumsticks.
That's crazy.
And boy, you really got the endurance going there. And then when you went back to playing the smaller drumsticks, that was a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Because you worked up that endurance.
That's like training for a marathon, like while dragging like a bunch of logs on ropes behind you, and then all of a sudden it's just like, all right, go run a marathon. There's no more logs tied to you. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Putting leg weights on or whatever you want to do.
That's so crazy. Oh, that's fun. Also, like, I feel like that's another thing about the drums, just to like sidetrack, because like I remember playing the drums and the drummers would be like, well, sometimes you can just play the bounce off, and it's just like, how? Like my brain can't think that fast to like play the bounce on like a snare head or something like that. I guess to do faster rolls or anything. I don't know. That's why I always thought like drummers, you're on a completely different level. I don't know if it's feeling in your hands or you just know it because you've worked up to it or what, but that's crazy.
Yep, just repetition, just doing things over and over again and adding more things to my bag of tricks.
Nice.
So
rock band in high school. Any fun stories from the rock band?
None that we could probably tell in public, that's for sure.
All right.
No, it was a good time, good experience. I wish we would have had a better sound man because it was a high school kid and he just wanted to crank everything wide open, you know. And,
Oh yeah.
because I felt like the band was better than we sounded probably. Mm-hmm. But you get it. The band's only good as a sound man sometimes.
100%. Yeah.
And if you got some kid back there that just likes putting buttons up, turning them up to 10 or 11.
Yeah, I don't know. The bane of my existence is going to shows, and the venue is about as big as this room, and everything's at 10, and you're just like, what are we doing here, people? Like, what are we doing here? I don't know. I always thought that, like, there was something to be said about taking away some of the volume. I don't know, sound guys, that's like one of the things I learned from them was like, you don't add more if something doesn't sound right. You take stuff away until it sounds right, you know, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in that everything ends up on 10 kind of thing. 'Cause, I mean, I ended up being that way too when you start running sound. You're like, you need more of that. All right, here's more. And then, I need more of this. Okay, here's more. And then eventually you're just like, I can't turn anymore. So yeah, being a sound guy is actually, I don't know. I don't want to throw them all under the bus. It's a tough job, but I will agree 100% that like the sound person at a show makes a big difference.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so in high school, of course, I tried out for all-state band and all-state orchestra and made both those for a couple of years in high school. And then I just love music, so here I tried out for some scholarships around the area colleges. Mankato and Drake University offered me a scholarship, but I took a scholarship at South Dakota State University there, right? Hometown of Brookings, South Dakota.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. And I took lessons from Jim McKinney, and he's a percussionist there and director of bands at South Dakota State University. And he's one of my mentors and idols through the years because he was just a multi-percussionist, could play anything, and he's a big showman. Mm-hmm. McKinney's a big showman, and so that was fun.
Yeah, you said percussionist, like that's another thing. It's like, can you play like, I don't know, xylophone, the marimba, like all that stuff, and then you got like the timpani, and then you got a bass drum. Like everything's a little different, so you're not just rocking the snare the whole time.
Oh no, yeah, drummers have to learn everything back there, and that kept me as a attention deficit kid kind of busy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would take home the xylophone like during the summer from the school. I could practice it every day. When it's in your house, when it's right there in your front room, mm-hmm. You know, you just stop there and practice it for 5 or 10 minutes on your way out to do chores.
Yep.
You know, that's what you did.
That was one of my favorite things somebody said as like a guitar instructor, like, what's the best advice you can give? And they said, this is way back, I don't even remember who said it, but it was just leave your guitar on a guitar stand out so you can walk by and just be like, boop, 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 and then you just put it away. And
yeah, I always had drumsticks laying around the house, you know, and things like that.
That's cool. So do you have a favorite piece of percussion? Like if you had to pick one, I mean, trap set probably is the one, you know, you'd play a drum set, but like, did you like the snare the best, or did you like, playing the xylophone, or was there something where you're just like, this is actually the best? Or
the marimba, I suppose I would like the best, because marimba has wider bars, just a fuller sound. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really I really like marimba. You play 4 mallets, stick two mallets in each hand, and you can roll and things like that.
My brain's exploding.
And do some nice arpeggios and chords. So the marimba is probably my favorite.
I saw some
through the years
Frank Zappa video the other day, and there's a gal playing marimbas in one of his bands, or maybe xylophone. Either way, it was just like, what the heck, you know? Like, it's so fun that like somebody threw that in their band, but it was Frank Zappa. So what do you expect? I mean, he played like bicycle handles as instruments and stuff. Like he was weird. So
we had some Frank Zappa parties in college.
I got into some Zappa recently, and it was something where it's just like, I gotta quit listening to this because I'm gonna get weird. Like, you know, it's this point where like music, you just push the boundaries so far where you're just like, I don't know, whatever. Montana was like the one song that just like pulled me in. I'm like, what is this song? You know, but anyways, yeah, I don't want to go on a Frank Zappa tangent. This is not a Frank Zappa podcast, but
yeah, we as a music major in college, different people would have parties at their houses and trailer houses and apartments, and they'd be theme parties, you'd have a Frank Zappa party. You'd have a Blues Brothers party.
Okay.
Whatever band it was.
So you just listen to a bunch of that music,
And that music
or all the
was-
guys cut their facial hair into Frank Zappa's goatee thing?
Yeah, that music was blaring all night long, No other music allowed.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that would be kind of fun, especially if somebody had like a huge catalog, like a Frank Zappa at that time, would have, because he'd a zillion albums. He just kept making music. Was like that kind of music, as somebody that majored in music, was that kind of stuff interesting to you? Because I know that, let's say somebody goes to Berkeley or goes to AIM or like any of those schools, they always come out and they're just like into the craziest jazz type stuff, or like into the most like progressive, like, oh, we play this is a 15/16 song, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, was that kind of stuff that you gravitated towards, or did you still kind of hold true to like rock and or polka country, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, you just add more things to your bag of tricks, just listening to the different sounds and the albums I used to like were called percussive. It's where they had quadraphonic speakers.
Okay.
And they'd have these percussive albums. Mm-hmm. And they play all kinds of music, but they have xylophone coming out that speaker and drums out of that one and vibraphone out of that one, and just stereophonic, quadraphonic.
That's cool.
So
instead of just panning everything left and right, you could split it apart.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
I do remember talking about some people, like, how did you learn how to play this music if there was no internet around? They used to say if you pan it left, you get mostly this guitarist coming through, so you can learn his parts, or you pan it all the way to the right, you get mostly that guitarist, or something like that. So I could see where like some of the stereo effect would come in, but I've never really dealt too much with like quadraphonic stuff.
Yep, I had a quadraphonic car stereo.
Whoa, that's cool.
And we had Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle album, and you could crank it up and do some weird stuff. He had these pew 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 pew, and these little arrows coming through with the synthesizers and stuff, and it was pretty cool.
That's sweet.
I all wish we had our first car and our first stereo.
Yeah, well, I don't wish I had my first car. It was a piece of junk. I sold it at a garage sale. I bought it at a garage sale. That was my first car.
Yeah, I was kind of a nerd as far as cars go, because I always had to buy a car that was big enough to haul my drum set.
Okay.
All my buddies had these little 2-door Monte Carlos and Camaros and Trans Ams and Firebirds and things. Here, Rollie comes up with a big Ford LTD, 4-door, with a big trunk in it. You could put almost your whole drum set in the trunk,
That's awesome.
Or then my next car was actually a pickup because my drum set outgrew my car, so I had to buy a pickup.
Oh, wow. Then you got to have a topper or some sort of cover for it.
Yep, had a topper.
Can't just be driving down the road and getting your drums rained on.
That's basically what I had in college. I had a motorcycle. I went my first 2 years in college. I lived with my folks because they only lived 10 miles north of Brookings, so I could drive back and forth to school. And what's nice about having a motorcycle is that you could park anywhere you wanted to on campus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Basically, you didn't have to worry about parking. But then winter came and you had to park my pickup. So I had my old Ford pickup.
Wow.
With drum set in the back.
Yeah.
Good thing nobody ever stole that because it was basically in the back the whole time.
That's wild.
I think I did have a lock on my topper, but...
Yeah, that'll keep an honest person out. That's just what locks do. Anyways. But yeah, so like, did you play in bands while you were in college too? Or were you focused on playing and learning in school?
Yeah, we were very busy. I still played my dad's polka band almost every weekend.
Whoa.
So that kept me out of trouble in college because he played 3-4 nights a month. And I was making money, And so that was really cool. It's nice to have cash when you're in college.
Oh, for sure.
So you play happy music for happy people and make fun money. That's what I call music. The money I make making music is fun money.
That's awesome. I love that.
So then I can spend that on fun stuff.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Just keep perpetuating the fun.
But then as a sophomore, then I met Eileen Berge, And Eileen was a keyboard player. She played a Hammond organ, and she
Hammond.
wailed on that thing. And that was a lounge band.
Oh, cool.
We played Holiday Inns and stuff like that. And sometimes we'd play Wednesday through Saturday night.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And in Brookings, they had Holiday Inn and Starlight Inn, and they had different places we played there, Elks Lodges and things. We played proms, things like that with Eileen around the area. The band was called the Trade Winds.
Nice, that's fun.
And we were a pop band, just played a variety of music. So, and that got me going. And then, well, with her, I got paid double what I did in my polka band.
Oh, nice.
My dad's band, I was only making like $50 a night,
Yeah.
which is a lot of money back in 1980
Yeah.
because you could buy gas for 25 cents a gallon and
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
But all of a sudden, playing with Eileen and the Trade Winds, this band's making, $500-$600 a night, a four-piece band. I'm taking home $100 and $125 a night. Mm-hmm. So
You're playing lounge music, though. You're probably playing at like bars and things like that. Not that like, I don't say like polka. It's not that polka doesn't lend itself to drinking. I will say that because it does happen. But playing in a lounge band, I'm assuming you're playing at a place where they're going to recoup the money, from the patrons.
Yeah, we played a lot of lounges, but a lot of private parties, and that's where the money comes from, the private parties. So
what kind of
we dressed up. I wish I would have brought a picture of that because that's pretty cool. We had a promo picture. We had our tuxedos on with the white ruffled shirts and the bow tie. So that was the worst part of that band is that you always had to dress up.
Yeah. It does kind of make it look nice and like a whole unit.
Oh yeah, we were very professional and people pay for that.
Yep. Yeah, I've always been one to just be like, kind of like, don't tell me what to wear on stage, but at the same time, like, I can't remember. Like, I heard this once, and it was like the reason that teachers dress up and go to school to some capacity. It's not like you put a tux on, but usually you have, we're gonna have a tie and a button-up shirt and stuff. It's like because I, as the teacher, am not you, the student, and it's just this easy, very visual separation of things, and you want that as a musician too, to some capacity. You want to relate to everybody, but like if there's somebody up there with like shit kick and cowboy boots and a big old cowboy hat on and stuff, it's like, well, a Western shirt's like, well, these guys are playing country music and I bet that guy's in the band. It's obvious to tell who's up there to do the thing, so I don't know, dressing up like that, it's such a double-edged sword. It tidies the room together quite a bit.
So, yep, that was a great gig. Played with them for 3-4 years. And then being with Eileen, she was the music director of the Miss South Dakota pageant.
Okay.
And that was out in the Black Hills every June. And we were the house band for that for 16 years, from 1980 through 1996. So every June, we'd hightail it to the Black Hills.
That's cool.
And we'd be the house band for the Miss South Dakota pageant.
That's wild.
And we'd stay in homes out there. Hospitality was crazy, was awesome. Free food, just a good time.
Geez, you're getting paid. You don't have to pay for food or housing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
When you're going to the Black Hills, it's a summer vacation for a week.
Geez, that's fun.
So it was a good time, and we got lots of stories about that. Of course, that'd be a whole nother chapter.
So it sounds like because we are already. Well, I mean, we're almost 40 minutes into this, so it sounds like we're gonna have to bring you back on for more stories. But because I don't know. I just have like a bunch of like random questions on here I wanted to ask because I think it'd be fun. But let's kind of just keep going down the line. So we're basically like somewhere in the early 80s, right?
Yep.
And let's just kind of just say we're going to fast forward to you started teaching, you said, in like the early 80s as well, somewhere like 83 or
83,
something.
83, yeah.
Okay. So were you playing music outside of teaching music?
Yeah, then I joined this band called Little Joe's Polka Band out of Jackson, Minnesota.
More polka.
Yeah, and they were polka and a big band.
Cool.
It was called Little Joe's Polka Band. And then they also called it, who's the other guy? I can't think of his name right now. But then they'd be a big band with the other leader of the band.
Okay.
Kenny Pavelko. So it was Little Joe's Polka Band. Then the other leader of the band was Kenny Pavelko. And then it'd be Kenny Pavelko's big band.
Okay.
Same guys, different music.
Oh, that's cool.
So some nights you play polka gigs, and some nights you play big band ballrooms. And we played all over Southwest Minnesota, Laverne VFW Club, Coliseum Ballroom, Worthington, Fox Lake Ballroom, Sherburne, Minnesota, Ballroom in Spencer, Iowa there, Woodcliff.
I wonder how, like, a lot of towns are trying to save their ballrooms or have saved their ballrooms, but a lot of them also went away. It makes me voice, like, I wish there was still like a ballroom where people went and danced and did stuff like that. you
Yeah,
know?
every county had at least one ballroom.
Oh, yeah.
So played a cobblestone ballroom and in Storm Lake, and that's when I got my job in Pocahontas.
Oh, fun.
Because my first teaching job was up in Windham, Minnesota. For 1 year, I taught 5 through 12 orchestra, and then they cut the orchestra program. And I was a first-year teacher, so I was low on the totem pole, and they cut my job, and so I was unemployed.
Wow.
So here I am. It's October, November. I've been unemployed for 6 months, and we're playing the Cobblestone Ballroom, and we run into on a break out there conversing with the audience, and I run into Lyle Foster and Denny Pierce, and Denny Pierce is the superintendent of schools in Pocahontas. And he says, "What do you do, young man?" And I says, "Well, I'm an unemployed music teacher." He says, "Well, we're looking for one." He says, "I just fired one last week."
That's crazy.
And so he says, "You send in a resume to Myrtle." Myrtle was the board secretary. "You send in a resume to Myrtle Monday morning, give her a call, set her up for an interview." Had an interview like Tuesday. Had a job, Wednesday. They wanted me to go to work on Thursday.
Jeez.
Here I was still living up in Windham, Minnesota.
When can you start? Yesterday? All right, let's do this.
So I basically lived out of my car for first 3 nights, I think.
That's wild.
But yeah, I just happened to run into the right people at the right time, and I got this job at Pocahontas and
That's amazing.
was there for the next 28 years.
That's crazy. So you end up playing any music while you were teaching up there, or was that something where you're just like, all right, I'm going to focus on being a teacher here?
Where, at Windham?
In Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. Then I joined this band called The Expressions. There's a CD. We made a CD in 2014 at Chris Carr's
nice.
studio.
Cool.
And that's pretty cool. And we're a rock and roll country band. Well, we play everything. The Expressions. And Mike Birkeland is our leader from Storm Lake. Craig Phillips, we call him Bombo, out of Pocahontas, our bass player. Kevin Christie from Ida Grove, and then Rollie on drums.
That's awesome.
And,
that's fun.
That's a character we had done one night.
That is freaking awesome.
One of the places we played.
That's super fun. Oh, that's so good.
So I started playing with them in 1986. The Expressions.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they're a good time. We played 70 to 90 jobs a year through the 80s and 90s, just every weekend.
Wow.
A lot of times Friday and Saturday nights.
Yeah, I was going to say that's almost 2 a weekend every weekend.
And they were the house band at the Colonial Inn in Fort Dodge. Used to be a place called Colonial Inn out on Highway 169 west of 169 by Iowa Central there.
Okay.
It's probably where Casey's was. Near Tom Thumb, just north of Tom Thumb there.
Iowa Central has a fuel testing laboratory there.
I think so, yeah. That's
Yeah, I went.
But it was called the Colonial Inn, I think it was. And we were the house band who played Wednesday through Saturday nights. So that was another deal. You go play, and then you go teach school in the morning.
Whoa. Oof.
So, but I've played with those guys since 86, so that's 38, 39 years.
That's cool.
And we're still going.
Yeah.
We only play just in the summertime now because Mike Birkeland goes to Phoenix in the winter. And so we play the summertime. We got 8 to 10 jobs every summer.
Still out there cooking some shows. That's awesome.
Yeah, we play at Palmer this summer, Rockwell City, Ida Grove, Storm Lake, Okoboji, a couple jobs up there for Rock the Roof,
Cool.
Everly, and some different things. So we still have a few open dates.
That's fun. That's super fun. I want to see what else you got. What are some of the other trinkets you got over there? Let's see.
Well, yeah, that's just a picture of our band. That's our band.
Oh wow!
The
Look,
expressions.
Y'all are young in here. How far back was this?
That was 2011. We were inducted into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's crazy. Almost 15 years ago.
Mike Birkeland, our leader, was originally from Fenton, Iowa, and he's had a band since 1967. So we've been around a long time. We were inducted in Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2011.
Dude, these caricatures of you guys are perfect. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
This is so fun. You got the shirts on, too. It ties the room together. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Hawaiian shirts there. Everybody goes through a fad. Well, here's an older picture from the 90s. We had matching. We had white shirts, or white pants with white suspenders with matching tops.
Wow, look at all this hair.
Yeah. We had hair in our heads. We had to unbutton another button on our shirt. We had to show that chest hair.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, hang on a second. Let me undo one of my buttons here. I got to feel like I got to compete. This is awesome.
But that's
I feel like my dad had one of these shirts.
Yep. That's just me in the early or late 80s probably.
I'm going to have to snap pictures of these so I can pop them in here.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
But I went through a stage where I had electronic drum. I had a Roland Octopad on there.
Oh, cool. So you could program anything.
Yeah. Had cowbells and different things on there. And
fun.
everybody had to go through that electronic drum thing.
Mm-hmm.
Had electronic bass drum, which was pretty cool. You just less to haul.
Yeah. I kind of wish more people incorporated electronic drums into the drum set. I don't know. It's just one more thing to deal with nowadays, but it still would be fun.
So I went that whole way, acoustic to electronic for a while. I had a Roland drum set for a while, but then you just get tired of the chords and well, I want the feel of acoustic drums.
Yes,
so I'm back to acoustic.
It fills the room, and you could feel it while you're playing it. Probably easier to monitor too.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're just sitting there, you just hear it.
I feel like I'm more in control when I have my own acoustic drums. Because when you're playing electronic drums, it's just one sound for the most part.
Yeah, like even the new ones, it's like they have a little bit where if you hit them lighter, they're a little quieter.
They're more sound or light or touch sensitive.
But still, you can only hit it so hard, it only gets so loud. With an acoustic one, you really have the feel right there.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
So that's what been with those guys, and that's just surround yourself with a lot of good musicians through the years. And
so you're in the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is awesome.
Yep, and then in 2021, we're inducted to what they call the All Music, the Midwest All Music Hall of Fame.
Oh, cool.
It's called MAMA, and that was another honor that we're.
That's really awesome.
Into.
That's cool. Congratulations. I mean, that's a lot of. You got to think like this is 25. You guys were playing for 25 years before you got inducted. That's a long time to be together as a 4-piece because it's just the 4 of you.
Yep, and our band's only had 7 members through the whole years.
That's wild.
Had 3 other guys back in the 70s before these guys joined them. But yeah, it's been this core group. What keeps us together is that we have a variety of styles, I guess. Craig is our hard rocker. Craig grew up in Eagle Grove and played a lot of Fort Dodge hard rock bands. He's our hard rocker.
I've seen him at some jam nights.
Yep. Mike's our 50s, 60s guy. He likes the old 50s.
Nice.
Kevin is he sings all the love songs. He's got the golden throat.
That's awesome. And then what are you? You're the polka guy?
I just play all the happy music. Yeah, I play the polka and some country, and I used to wear a big old, a 5-gallon hat, they called it, big old foam hat,
I'm fun loving the whole time.
I'm famous for what's called the laughing polka.
What do we got here? Do we have to read this? Do you want to read it?
Well, I'm just going to sing one verse here, and then I'm going to.
Right.
But
let's do it.
This is what I'm famous for. I learned this when I was in high school. The Little Joe Polka Band played this, and I'm kind of famous for it. I used to know a little girl not many years ago. She wasn't very sporty, folks, but yet she wasn't slow. Not exactly dandy or a bird of paradise. I walked around her once a day to get the exercise. Oh, ha, 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 oh, 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 ha, 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 ha. And that goes on and gets the whole audience laughing. Called the laughing polka.
That's hilarious. I can see some more of the lyrics. You guys definitely Google this. I'm going to try and find an actual version of this to listen to. It's going to be freaking hilarious. Polka music's so fun. Like Humboldt had a polka fest every year. I think they still do, maybe.
No, it's been done since just before COVID. COVID
kind of was the last.
Got rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, not that it matters, but I was working with somebody that helped make the dance floor that they had for like the last 20 or so years. So like that was my contribution, was I helped make the dance floor for that. But yeah, it's crazy to see all those people that come out there play polka music for like 3 or 4 days straight. And like you said, it'd be like all day, all night. The place would be packed. Polka music.
Yep, I played that polka fest many times.
Really?
With Barefoot Becky Band out of Cedar Rapids, Carl and the Country Dutchman out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, Peter and Paul Wendiger out of New Ulm, the Wayne Ripke Band out of Storm Lake, the Moloch Fishermen out of Garner.
That's wild.
You ever been to Duncan?
No.
You ever heard of Duncan, Iowa?
No, I don't think so.
Duncan Ballroom. Well,
Okay.
Duncan's on Highway 18. It's between Britt and Garner. Mm-hmm. And all that's in this town is a big Catholic church, Duncan Ballroom, and an old Alice Chalmers dealership. It's just like a little spot on the road. But
crazy.
Duncan Ballroom has dances quite often. It's still a ballroom.
Oh, really?
And they got a big thing coming up here in April. I think it's Sunday, April 27th. They got the bandwagon show coming down from Mankato, and they're doing the taping there
Okay.
with the Moloch Fishermen and Chris and the River Valley Dutchman out of Mankato.
Nice.
But the bandwagon show, that's a famous polka show out of Mankato. They do a weekly polka show.
I can hear the cat. I swear nobody's beating a cat outside. Holy cow, the cat is just loud. It's probably not getting picked up on the mics, but that's like all I can hear is that cat outside. It wants in here so bad, but it's not coming in. So, did you find yourself like as a drummer through the years filling in a lot for other bands? Because I feel like that's the drummer's calling, where it's just like, I need you to play just a few shows for us here or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it'd be endless. I could make make a list there.
I was going to say, you start naming some, you'd be scared to leave some of them off probably.
But when you're playing with a full-time band like the Expressions, you don't have a lot of time to play with other bands. But I did play with a lot of area big bands, Tuxedo Junction and Al Godfredson, Irv Reitzel, different big bands around the area in Fort Dodge, and Lake Robbins Ballroom and down by Woodward. So a lot of big bands. A few country bands just maybe set in just because their drummer was sick or something.
Mm-hmm. So let's go through some of these shows. Would you have like a show that's like your favorite show you ever played at? Like this was the biggest crowd or the most receptive or the funnest show, or somebody brought pyrotechnics with and you're just, I don't know, like at a polka show. I don't know, maybe. You never know.
Anytime you can get a big crowd that's really into it, of course, and like the Amana Colonies has a huge polka fest, and in October, that's huge because there's like 1,000 people there.
Oh wow!
And everybody's happy. Mm-hmm. Big shows, we do Rock the Roof. They're always big shows at Okoboji at the Arnold's Park. Well, the Miss South Dakota pageant, big shows.
Yeah.
They would have a whole gymnasium just packed full of people, especially the finals night on Saturday night. I mean, the place would be packed. And what was fun about that is that I was playing my drum set, but there was a band out of South Dakota called Ivory, and we'd use their sound system. Mm-hmm. And they'd mic up your drums and everything, and it's so nice to play through that whole system with 1,000 people in the audience.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've we've done a lot of shows. And then, of course, I played with the Humboldt Big Band and Community Chorus Show for the last 39 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I've remembered that.
And we just had a show, back in February. We did 3 shows. And a few years ago, we'd have sold out crowds of 600 people at the Humboldt High School auditorium. And that was a rush.
Yeah, I remember that being like a big deal for a while.
Yep. And it still is. We do 3 shows. Now we're down to 3. We don't do 4 or 5 shows anymore. But
well, I mean, a lot of those times it's like, well, you ended up with like the best musicians from around the area that didn't end up going into music. And then you ended up with all the music teachers from around the area that like either were still teaching or were retired. And it's like, well, of course this band hauls. It's just like all of the professionals around here that...
Yeah, it's like an all-star band, so we have a good time.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So let's talk about like, because we are like at about an hour. I don't want to get too long into this.
Yep, because the only thing 1 hour is the limit.
That's what I try. I try to keep it close to that. I do want to bring you back though, because like we definitely... I feel like barely scratched the surface. You still got notes over there and things. This is going to be awesome. And we only got like halfway through what I had to ask, but like I do got to know. So you still playing shows with the Expressions, and are you still playing with the Humboldt Community Orchestra or the Humboldt Community Band?
Humboldt Big Band, yep. And I direct the Pocahontas Community Band. We have a community band over there.
Oh, cool.
When I retired from teaching, I still had that yearning to direct a band. Mm-hmm. So I still direct the Pocahontas Community Band.
Okay.
We do concerts in the summertime, like at the county fair and Heritage Days in Pocahontas and things. We do a Christmas concert over there. So I still get to stand up in front of the band and direct.
Yes.
A lot of times I get to play drums and lead the band that way. Mm-hmm. What's fun about being the leader of the band is that you get to pick the music that the band gets to play.
That, yes. I always thought that would be like the fun part about being like a band teacher. Because it's like, I don't know. I remember it's like, well, we're going to play a classical song and we're going to play something kind of by a newer composer. And then we're going to play, the Men in Black theme song. I was just like, what? Like they always try to pick something for everybody.
Yep. So, and I play with the Carl King Band out of Fort Dodge since 1986.
The cat made it in here.
So, meow.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to kick it out if it jumps up on the table.
So,
Carl King Band, too.
Yep. The municipal band down there play down Olson Park in the summertime on Sunday evenings at 7:30.
So you're playing in what we would call like a 4-person like band, but you're playing in multiple community bands as well as directing one of them.
Oh, yeah. And Emmetsburg Municipal Band. We run up there in the summertime and play with them.
Well, okay, we're going to have to cut for a second to get this cat out of here. All right, we are back. So, still out there, still playing a lot of shows, still scratching the itch. Just something that never goes away, or what?
Yeah, it's just the fun part about leading a band, like I says, is picking out the music, searching for music. And right now on the internet is so much fun because there's just so much music on YouTube and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll, with our Humboldt Big Band, I like to play a variety of music, and I like to have our big band play some country music. You usually don't see jazz bands play country music.
Yeah.
So we try to pick out some tunes, and we hear them on YouTube, and we contact the directors, and usually it's somebody arranged some song just for their band, and they will send it to us just for free. And
oh, cool.
So it's fun to get to know people around the world.
Yeah.
It's all about the hunt.
Yeah. That's something wild about music directors is just like they can arrange things like that. It's like it would take me ages to listen to something and to have. There's some people where it's just like they got a trained ear. It's like we're doing this, just do it, and they just like scribble it out on a sheet of paper real quick. And you're like, oh, man, you got a good ear.
Yeah, a buddy of mine arranges music for a living, and college graduate. We went to college together, and he arranged Classical Gas, a song called Classical Gas, and it features guitar with a jazz band.
Oh, that's cool.
So he sent that to me just this week.
Oh, awesome.
So
that's fun. All right. So we talked some favorite shows. Do you have like a funny story from a show that remember, people are going to listen to this and they're going to come find you and be like, I can't believe you told this story on the internet. But do you have any funny stories? Do you have like a worst show or this was the funniest thing that ever happened on stage ever?
Well, back when I was a young kid, of course, playing the polka band, all I had was one pair of drumsticks.
Okay.
And I went to the job, got my drums all set up, no drumsticks. Forgot them at home. It was like an hour back to get them home. I'm not going to drive back an hour. So we're playing at a steakhouse in Madison, South Dakota. And I go back to the kitchen and get some wooden spoons.
Oh.
So we got through the night playing wooden spoons.
That's fun.
On the drum set.
I guess it's kind of comparable, but really
it wasn't.
Not.
It was a long night.
Oofda.
But good thing it wasn't a real. All you had to play was boom chick, boom chick. You didn't have to do too many fancy things with that. I couldn't play fancy with the wooden spoons.
That'd be like not bringing a guitar pick and being like, well, you got to play with the edge of your credit card or something like that. You could get by, but it's like, this is not optimal.
Yeah, it's no fun.
This is not what we're looking for. Oh, man. So what else we got on the notes over there? You got some good stuff over there.
Well, yeah, about the worst gigs. One night with the Little Joe Polka Band, he went and fired the whole band. One night we were playing up by Sheldon somewhere. And everybody...
That's Northwest.
Yeah,
Iowa.
Northwest Iowa. And everybody was having a little too much fun. And audience members started coming up on stage and playing tambourine and singing with the band. Ooh. Everybody was having a little too much fun. And Little Joe just stopped the band and says, "You're all fired. We're done."
That's crazy.
And then he called us all like Tuesday morning and he apologized. And he says, "You're going to be there next weekend, aren't you?" So we all play the next weekend.
I will say, yeah, for sure. Having people come up on stage, it's a crapshoot. It's either amazing or like you're just holding on to the end.
People dancing on stage and things like that.
Oof, that could be a bit much sometimes.
Brunsville Legion Hall. That's a little town just west of Lamar's. We used to play a lot of wedding dances over there. And the stage was not level.
Okay.
Kind of tipped back, so you got your drum set there, and you're sitting there, you almost you're tilted.
So the stage was tilted back. That's weird.
Yeah,
You'd think it would go forward.
It was a bad deal. And I was younger, I was in my 30s, so but boy, at the end of the night, your back would be so sore because you'd have to lean ahead to play almost. But one night, my stool did tip over. So that was a bad night at Brunsville.
I like how you said you were younger. You were in your 30s. It's like, sweet, I'm still younger.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point in my life where I'm like, I was younger then. I was 30. That's awesome.
But as far as worst gigs, any gig that I have to play outside on a flatbed where they put the drummer right on the edge and you're looking down, 5 feet below there and you're right there on your little three-legged throne and you're thinking, I could fall over backwards here.
Oh, man.
So those are my worst gigs, is just setting up on flatbeds.
Yeah.
And where the flatbed isn't anchored.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the whole thing is rocking. And
been to a couple of those. Or like they put two of them side by side, but they're not level with each other. Mm-hmm. So you have like a 3-inch lip in between them. Yeah. There's some fun stuff that happens with the flatbed stage every now and then. But yeah, I will say that like there are a few of those ones where they make them specifically to be a stage where they can like open up and stuff. Some of those are pretty nice. Usually they have a back on them and
the showmobiles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
in Algona and West Bend and Fenton. Yep.
All right.
Well, Humboldt's got a showmobile there at the county fair.
Oh yeah.
People play on that, different things.
Yeah. All right. So
we like that.
We're getting close down here to the end. Let's see if I got any other funny little questions I can ask. Oh yeah, VFW Jam Nights, Dakota City. I see you there pretty often. I also see you posting videos from like watching people there. There's like a lot more shows going on at the VFW in Dakota City than there has been in the past, which is really nice because I was always like, we need to have live music in Humboldt, and then we have it. And I'm not trying to like call Humboldt out or anything, but it's they're sporadically attended. Sometimes it's kind of full, sometimes it's kind of not, and it really almost doesn't seem to matter who's up there because some like you think like, oh, it's going to be packed for this person, and it's not. And then there's other people where it's like nobody's going to go watch this, and then it's like, well, there's like 40 people there on the videos. Like there's a lot of people there, so it's kind of crazy to have the live music like at our fingertips, and then it's, you know, not always as well attended as others. But I will say, you were at the last jam night at VFW. As this comes out, the last jam night, you're thinking, well, it was last night. And it's like, no, the month before. So that was like negative 25 or something before the wind chill on that one. That was wild.
Yeah, it's amazing anybody showed up at all, because when you get that cold, I just as soon stay home myself. But yeah, we, my wife, Becky, and I, we support as much live music as we can. And we try to attend Soldier Creek Winery and the things in Fort Dodge and the VFW jams and the music. It's amazing the groups that they're starting to get in now.
They're booking killers.
They're booking some big bands and things like that. So.
Some of the best singer-songwriters from multiple counties around here. It's crazy.
So, and we tend to tape quite a few of them, videotape them, and we post them on Facebook and YouTube and different things. So.
Yeah, weren't you? It was when you played with Clint at Rails. I was going to say, I think I saw some videos of you that you posted from Rails, and it's like, oh, you were in those.
Yep, I was playing drums that night. That was the Thanksgiving Eve. What a party on a Wednesday night there.
Yeah,
I played a lot of Thanksgiving Eve parties in Storm Lake and Pocahontas through the years. Those are great parties because all the alumni is there. Mm-hmm. Like when I played in Pocahontas, all my former students were in the audience. You know, and what a blast that was. But, But that night at Rails in Eagle Grove with Clint, that was...
It's a hoot.
That was a good show, and Brad Holfing recorded that whole show.
Oh, he did? Cool.
So he sent us some links on some of that. I really liked it. It really sounds good.
Yeah.
But we had Dave on the steel guitar.
Yep.
And Clint and Brad and...
Was Taylor there playing violin?
Taylor wasn't there that night.
Okay.
But yeah, that was
cool.
That was a blast. I like playing with acoustic groups like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like we had a lot of dynamic. You can get a lot of dynamic contrast. Mm-hmm. Where if everybody's electronic and it gets to be too much. But the acoustic, you could play soft and they could play loud. Just a lot of variations in the music. The style of music we played that night was just really cool.
Yeah.
Clint had the audience in the palm of his hand that night.
That's Clint at Rails. It's like a dream come true for them. Yeah, it's fun. I've played up there a couple shows with them up there before too, and Rails is a fun place to go for sure. That's an Eagle Grove for anybody that's looking for a fun place to watch the music. But yeah, so you do still, even though you have multiple obligations, still pull some moonlight shows with other bands here and there.
Yeah, and that's kind of a double-edged sword because many years I people would call me and I'd just say no, and people keep calling me. I go, no, I'm busy. I'm busy. Well, pretty soon your phone stops ringing.
Yes.
When you say no too many times. Mm-hmm. So then I started saying yes, and then pretty soon your phone starts ringing again. And
yeah, it's like the floodgates open, especially if you're a drummer.
Yeah, and all of a sudden... Now I got to choose, where do I want to play? Well, whoever calls you first, most likely is going to get the job. You got to do that. You got to be faithful to the person that called you first because...
Yeah, I've turned down some like high-paying, fun gigs to do what was first because you just owe it to them. Yeah. It's
the right thing to do. And so we've been saying yes quite a bit lately. And
that's fun.
It's fun. We're playing for the St. Edmund Musical. They're doing Grease.
Nice.
Here March 20th through the 22nd.
Cool.
And Shelley Batorf playing piano, and I'm on drums.
Fun.
So we'll be rocking out down the pit.
That's a dynamic duo right there.
Playing some old Grease music. I played Grease when I just graduated from college in 1982. They had summer theater up in Brookings. And I played Grease that summer. Mm-hmm. And they had us wear a T-shirt with a cigarette pack rolled up.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And then we had dippity-doo in our hair. We had to have our hair all slicked up, I won't be doing dippity-doo this year because don't have any hair.
Yeah, it won't stay up there. It'll just I would just get a wig. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd have to do the same thing, everybody. Don't hate me.
Well, that's what underneath that's why you wear a hat.
Yeah, they make hats that look really good these days. It's the facelift for a guy is a hat and a beard. That's a male facelift. That was it's pretty cheap. You don't have to really do much, like $5,
right, you
$5 and not shave for a couple weeks. All right, cool. I'm in. Oh, it's that double-edged sword though there too, because you look younger and older at the same time. It's like, well, I kind of look younger now that I have the beard, but I also don't because I have a beard. So whatever.
But yeah, I've been filling in. I play at a lot of churches in the area.
Cool.
When Dean Davis is not available, I play for his church down there, the First Covenant Church with Armona Radenius. That's they got a rockin' band. They've got two trumpets, two trombones, bass guitar, piano, and drums.
Cool.
And it's a rockin' group. And they've got a quartet of singers, and sometimes they got a whole choir. That's fun to play with. I play with, what's her name down in Callender? Andrea Bodolt.
Okay.
And she's an excellent piano player, and she does put some fun programs together down in Callender at the Lutheran Church down there. So.
Oh, fun. Yeah, church is actually like one of the first places I started playing music because nobody's going to boo you out of church. So
yeah, everybody appreciates you. I mean, and for the most part, you don't have to really rehearse. You just show up, and most of the time they have a drum set there.
Oh,
it's just like
yeah.
I just show up with my sticks.
Yep.
I go, this is my kind of gig.
Well, if you got any more of those gigs for Raleigh, be sure to hit them up.
Yeah, I only play places that have drum sets set up already.
Yes. Show up and just play. That's awesome. Well, let's pick a spot to end this. How about now? Because it's just as good as any. Is there anything we didn't talk about that is something that you would want to talk about? Do you have any upcoming shows? Because this will come out essentially Thursday. So is there anything on your plate as far as up and coming shows that are immediate or
just playing the Grease musical with the high school, St. Edmunds there in Fort Dodge. And then the summer starts to crank up here in June or May. Our rock band starts playing in May.
Cool. That's the Expressions, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have Facebook and stuff like that?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put a link to that down below.
Yep. And you can find some videos on YouTube. Got to type in The Expressions, Iowa, because if you type in The Expressions, they're going to have all kinds of bands. But The Expressions, Iowa, we got a few YouTube
Cool
videos downloaded on there. It's kind of neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you never know where your next gig is going to be sometimes.
Yeah, especially I was just thinking, I knew you played in the Expressions, and I knew you did a little bit of big band kind of type stuff on the side, or community bands, but I didn't realize you did this many, and then on top of that, playing for churches, and you're not a school teacher anymore, but you're not retired. You have a full-time job. Where do you find time for all this?
Well, yeah, I'm a mailman. I deliver rural route mail over in Clarion, Iowa, and yeah, as a musician, you still have to have a full-time job, I think.
Yes. It's not quite enough.
Most successful musicians have a full-time job that pays the bills. So, but I do use a lot of my sick leave and annual leave throughout the year. Mm-hmm. If I've got a weekend, three-day gig in eastern Iowa with Barefoot Becky and Cedar Rapids and Dubuque and Quad Cities, or a boat cruise up and down the Mississippi, you got to take Friday and Monday off from work, and you just spend the weekend in Cedar Rapids and
cool. That's awesome.
Play. So yeah, it's pretty neat. You get paid for playing. That's music.
Yeah. Oh,
music is fun.
The first time, and I'm assuming it was with your dad, but the first time he handed you money for playing music, I'm sure you were just like, "What? What do I do with this? This is awesome."
Yeah, what can I buy now? Well, buy a stereo for your car. That was the first thing I bought.
Sweet. That's awesome.
A cassette player, and then you had to buy speakers for your car because you couldn't just use the speakers that come in the car. You had to, buy the nice Jensen coax.
Oh yeah,
high-powered speakers.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've placed a couple speakers in a couple cars before.
But yeah, playing music paid for my college.
Cool.
Basically, so. But
that's awesome.
I played every weekend.
That is sweet.
For basically 4 years.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's dedication. Or that's just you found yourself in the perfect situation, basically. You were in the groove right there.
Yeah, I've been lucky being around a lot of good people. Surround yourself with musicians that are highly skilled, and that makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say about that, it makes you a better musician if you surround yourself with better players and things like that. So
Yeah.
through the years, that's what I've done, and
That's awesome. All right.
a lot of experience, Peter.
Yeah, that's the way it is, man. Someday I will get there. I will never. I don't know. I look into these pictures. It's just like, well, I'm pretty much bald, and Rollie's bald, and then it's like, you had hair a lot longer than I did. That's unfair, man. That is totally unfair. I'm just. I don't know. I'm happy hearing these stories, and like I said, I feel like we just like went to about high school and then took big gaps to get to where we are now. I feel like there's still plenty of fun stories in there, and hopefully you can come back on and tell a few of those, because I got to take pictures of these to put them online so I can plug them in where we were talking about them too, because you guys got to see some of these pictures. Like I said, I think my dad had a couple of these shirts, and the way you guys are dressed is so fun, and the caricatures are like, they line up almost exactly with one of the pictures. It's awesome. So Rollie, I gotta say thanks for coming on. I'll put the expressions links down below. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to add in here right before we take off?
I've got a quote that I kind of live by.
Oh.
It's called, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. So we did that many years teaching and everything that we've ever lived by in my life. Because if you hear something, you'll hear it, but you might forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see it. When you go on vacation, you see something, you remember that.
Oh yeah.
You see things, you remember.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually do things, you will understand. So
yeah.
That's
powerful.
what I've done a lot of different styles of music through the years, so I feel like I understand a wide variety.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not great at everything, but I've tried everything.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah. I mean, that lends itself to exactly what you said before. You're just open to listening to all types of music and just expanding your horizons. And I think that's what makes a well-rounded musician and a well-rounded person. The crazy thing is a lot of these things where it's like, this is a good lesson for a musician. It's like, if you extrapolate this to just regular life, that's good advice for life.
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah, and keep living and eager to learn, no matter what. Even on my mail route, I learn something every day on my mail route, and learn something every day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're eager to learn, eager to get better. Every gig I go to, I learn something,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, this was fun sitting down talking with you, Rollie. I really appreciate this. I mean, we've been trying to get this organized for a while, and I'm really glad we got it in here. I can't wait for you to come back, man. This is gonna be great. When you come back, I expect you to bring a whole nother notebook with lots of good stuff in it, because we didn't cover everything over there. So
you bet.
All right, Rollie. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Episode 243 with Rollie Jensen's in the bank. I was looking over my notes here before doing this recording and recording the intro and outro, and it's like, man, there was so much stuff on here. I wished I would have asked him, but next time we'll get all the answers to all the good stuff. I did ask a few goofy questions, and I asked a few goofy questions before we started. But it's just kind of fun. I feel like I'm getting a little more brazen on these podcasts, and it's just kind of more fun to have these open conversations with people about goofy stuff and just kind of sidetrack it a little bit. It does get kind of tiring if you're not like super into music. I know most of the people that listen to this are like basically musicians, but like, if you're not super into music, you got to kind of try and find a way to keep it entertaining for like the average listener. So I try to throw some goofy questions in there every now and then to some of these podcast guests that I've had. But this episode was tons of fun. I had a great time sitting down talking with Rollie. I've got the opportunity to play music with Rollie before. The guy is all smiles all the time, always having fun. He had like at least 3 or 4 little quips in this podcast that's like, that's a sound bite, that's good, that's a life lesson. I'd like that on a t-shirt. So this episode was tons of fun. It was great to sit down and talk with Rollie. I can't wait to have him back for more. I've got links down below for the expressions if you want to check that out. Otherwise, you basically just have to go to live music in your town if you're in the north central Iowa area, basically anywhere. And there's a chance Rollie might be playing drums. He plays so much drums. He is so involved in music. You think I support music? That guy's got it down. He knows what he's doing. What a great musician and what a fun guy to be around. Always having a good time. Always having a good time. And that's one of my favorite things about Rollie. So hopefully you can come back on again before too long. We can talk some more stories. I'm sure he's got plenty of stuff. It's going to be so good. I don't know. I always feel like these podcasts, when you get done and get off camera, it's just like, oh man, here comes some good stuff, and everybody's got fun stories, and I just can't wait for Rollie to come back on and tell a few more of his fun stories. So that'll be a good time. Thank you, Rollie, for coming on and being a guest. Thank you very much. And thank you to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association for helping us out with this episode. I appreciate that as well. And I gotta say thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening every week. Thank you for sharing and talking about the podcast and leaving comments on things. And I made a post recently where it's like, who hasn't been on the podcast that should be? I had like 30 some comments or something at the time I'm recording this. I haven't responded to literally any of them because I'm so busy. So thank you for all the suggestions of who should be on the podcast. I'll find some of those people. I'll track them down. This is only once a week. So if I took all those suggestions and did all of those, I'd basically have the whole rest of the year done. And I'm going to kind of just play it by ear a few weeks at a time and see what happens. So we'll get some of those people on the podcast for sure. Some of them I've never heard of. Some of them I have heard of. Some people, it's just like a person got tagged, and then you go to their profile, and I can't figure out if they play music or not. So you search their name, and maybe stuff comes up. Like it's not always as easy as you think. Some of the people, I can't tell if they're from Iowa or not. Somebody said Corey Taylor. Believe it or not, I have a Corey Taylor story. So if you want to hear it, find me at a show sometime, and I'll tell it to you. I'm not telling it on the podcast, but if you see me at a show and you're like, oh, I gotta hear this story. Corey Taylor, fun guy. He's a great guy. So, yeah, I don't know. There was some other stuff on there where it's like a couple of the people had already been on the podcast, but have changed. Like things have changed since the last time they were on. So I'm not 100% sure. We'll get some of the people on here. I got a lot to work with. So thank you guys very much for being reactive to the post and letting me know who you want to have on the podcast. I really appreciate that. And, especially thanks to the people who listen every single week that commented, and the people that are very involved in the podcast. I really appreciate you guys. So I might end up fielding a few of those first before I field some from people that I'm not too familiar with. So we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for supporting, though. I really appreciate it. If you want to support monetarily, you can do it on the Patreon. You can watch the episodes a day early. If you want to support monetarily, you can go to the shop. There's lots of good stuff in the shop. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers. That's pretty much it. There's only a few sizes of a few shirts and a few varieties left. Hoodies are just a couple sizes, and I have a few of each left maybe. I always got a pile of stickers. I just got some new stickers in, so I got to start sticking those everywhere. That's going to be fun. Anyways, you check those two out. Everything else, social media is all that good stuff. Share it. Tell somebody about the podcast. If you like this one, just share it with somebody. Say, hey, Rollie was on a podcast. It's awesome. He's great. Check it out. It's going to be fun. But yeah, for everything else, it's audiblefarm.com. All right. Peace.